Hey guys, I didn't make a blog last night, but that's okay. Um, we skipped another day. Oh well, this daily thing's a little bit harder than I thought. I don't know, but anyway, getting on to it. Um, Last night I got home and I had some CPAP supplies that arrived in the mail, which I don't know if you know, but I have a CPAP machine, which I don't know exactly what that stands for, but it basically applies pressure to my airway while I'm sleeping. It's like a mask that I have to wear, and it prevents me from having sleep apnea, which is basically when you're snoring and you you stop breathing for a few seconds and then you start snoring again. That's sleep apnea, and basically it's just a halt in your breathing pattern while you are asleep, and your brain kind of kicks into overdrive or whatever, or your heart rate does to get you to wake up enough to breathe again, because your airway closes usually, especially in more fatter people. It's because of the fat in your neck area closing off your airway. And then your heart rate increases and your brain says, wake up to breathe. And then you kind of gasp or whatever, um, and then you start breathing again. And when I had a sleep test done one time, or the last time that had it done, it was occurring. I forget the exact number, but I want to say 53 times per hour. So almost once a minute, I would stop breathing. So pretty frequently, especially for my age group. Anyway, so I have a CPAP machine and I got some more supplies that arrived because every now and then you're supposed to replace them so that they stay fresh and clean and whatnot. You're supposed to technically put them through a washer, like a dishwasher or something, because they are dishwasher safe, but I don't have a dishwasher. I probably should be soaking them, um, like in a soapy water solution in a sink or something instead. But I probably should do that more frequently. I don't do it right now. I just kind of like live with it. But either way, hasn't caused an issue as of yet. Um, so I replaced all of the pieces that I got, and I tried it on just to make sure it would fit correctly and everything. And then I laid back to like kind of relax for a second while I had it on. Next thing I know, I'm waking up several hours later, like 3 in the morning. And this was at, I don't even remember what time. I think it was right after I got home from my church group. So it would have been about 9 p.m. So I laid down at 9 p.m. to test this, and then I woke up at 3. So I almost slept 6 hours right there. I guess I was very tired. Um, and then, because it was only 3 a.m., I decided to force myself to go back to sleep again, which was a little difficult at first, but I ended up able to do that. And then I slept till, I think, 6, woke up again, and then I made myself go back to bed because it was still too early. And I think I ultimately ended up getting out of bed and waking up around 8 o'clock. So I had quite a bit of sleep today, which is not common for me because I'm usually more of a 6 or 7 hours a night kind of guy when it comes to sleep. Maybe I'm catching up because I needed it. I don't know. But the reason I'm bringing that up is I slept through several things. I could have at the time, because when I got home it was 9 o'clock, I should have taken my insulin dose, but I laid down first and then I fell asleep for 6 hours, like I said. So I missed my nighttime insulin dose last night of 40 units of long acting insulin. I missed my 1,000 milligram dose of metformin, which is an oral pill that I take for my medication for diabetes. And I also missed going to the gym last night, which I was a little bit unhappy about because I wanted to go. So, 3 things I missed in my diet and exercise plan. But looking at my blood sugar numbers now in the morning, it looks like I mean, you can see I ate and broke my fast there on that last peak towards the end, and it just went down pretty low. Um, right there. It probably went down maybe to the 70s or whatever. And then in the middle of the night and early morning, it's come up to about 100, some maybe 150 right now. So like right now it's at 143, and I had just taken my morning dose of insulin and metformin. So even though I didn't have the insulin and the metformin on board, and I did not exercise last night, I did not go high, and in fact I went a little low. So I don't know if that is indicative of being able to reduce my insulin again, but I'm going to probably update my doctor and my nutritionist on my chart in order to at least relay that information to them if they're still thinking of reducing it further, which is my hope anyway, because I'd like to get completely off of insulin, especially as soon as possible, because insulin makes the problem worse. Even though it cures the symptoms, which is the high blood sugar levels, which have their symptoms of their own, it worsens the resistance to insulin by creating more insulin in your system, which is what made the resistance to insulin to begin with. So, I don't know. Either way. Um, so yeah, no exercise last night. I had no low blood sugars because of that, and I had no highs because I didn't eat any further beyond the one meal that I had at the church group at 6 p.m. So, what did I eat at the church group? I did have, it was an enchilada casserole that they served, and a salad, and there was kind of like a vegetable mixture, but it was primarily corn. So I actually found that that was not a very good vegetable to eat for my diet. But I still ate it because it was there, and I don't know. Every now and then it's not horrible. The enchilada casserole was higher in carbs, of course, because of its contents. Like I think there's like, I don't know exactly, but it kind of looked like noodles of some sort or some kind of layer. Maybe it was tortilla. I don't really know, but it was something carby. And it was made with chicken. So, uh, anyway, it was good. It tasted good, and it had a decent amount of carbs in it. So, I did see a spike in my sugar level, maybe to, what did it spike to? Um, that spike from last night is the spike you saw. So yeah, it spiked to about 170, 180, which isn't horrible. Um, it's still not spiking above 200, which is well below where it was spiking to before. Because when I first started all this, my spikes when eating were almost always like 400, 500, 600 plus. So significantly lower if it's not even going over 200. So even with a high carb meal like that. Um, yeah, so like I said, I went to the church thing last night. That's kind of usual for me lately. Every Wednesday I always go. Um, I Yesterday I had my lab and my anatomy class, both of which were productive, I believe. In the lab, we put ourselves on an EKG machine, a really um, I don't want to say like inaccurate, but it's not a super accurate one. It's not like 12 leads. It was three, two on one arm and one on the other. And it was not super detailed because of that. So there was a lot of, I forget the word we call it. Artifact, I think is what it's called. So a lot of artifact, which is usually from movement or bad connection. And it still did show my P waves and my QRS and everything. So actually I can pull it up on my. I did take a photo of that. Um, so let me try and turn off my lock screen so that I can go sideways. And if you can see that, I'm not sure. That's my EKG from class. So on the bottom, you can see those peaks that go up and down in the about 4 times in that bottom one. Each of those is a heartbeat. And the slight bump before each of those is called the P wave. And then the kind of raised fat bump on the other side, there, kind of better. The raised fat bumps on the other side from the little bumps, those are the T wave, but it's not reading the T wave too well. In any case, my heart rate was about 104 if you saw that. That's my baseline for resting, which is not a very good heart rate by any means. It's called tachycardia when it's above 100. Normal heart rate is supposed to be 60 to 100, and preferably like lower towards the 70, 75 area of the number is normal. So 100 plus means my heart is working harder. And I found out through anatomy class that the way that you look at cardiac output is you multiply the heart rate by the God, what was it called? There's a V in it. Something volume. I don't know. But you multiply two numbers together, the heart rate and basically how well your heart squeezes out blood at a rate per minute or whatever. And it gives you the cardiac output. So because my heart rate is high, and it always has been for like years now, I am assuming that that means that my other number, whatever it's called, is low, and the high heart rate is a compensation of that to keep my cardiac output at a good level. And that's kind of what we're learning right now. I should know those numbers, but I've been having difficulty with words especially, but like a lot of the stuff with the heart has been clicking, like the structures of the heart and stuff. I did really well on that quiz, like I said before. But yeah, anyway. So we did that kind of quiz in that lab, and then we answered some questions, went over the last midterm that we did, and I didn't do too great on it, but I also didn't do nearly as bad as before. So on that midterm, I think I got a 65, which compared to the first midterm, which I got a 41 or 42%, is an improvement, but is definitely not what I wanted to see. And because of that, I did the math roughly on how much I would need to do on the final to get a C or higher in the class, which would mean a pass. I basically need a 60 or an 85% or higher on the test of the final in order to get a C or higher in the class. So I'm going to try very, very hard to fulfill that. But based on my midterm exams, honestly, I have a little bit of a low expectation of achieving that. So I'm a little concerned, to say the least. And if I don't achieve that, then I'll have to retake this class. Which, regardless, because I have to wait a year anyway, until I can apply for the nursing program, I will probably try and utilize retaking this class even if I do pull off a C. So ultimately, getting that C doesn't really matter except for being able to complete the next level of the class, which is the Anatomy and Physiology 233, which is the third level of the anatomy class. So the benefit to being able to take the third level, even though I want to retake the first and second, will be to to at least have completed them all so that the requirement to get into the program is complete. And even though the grades are low and the point values will be low, I will still have point values and I will still be able to apply. Without 233, I cannot even apply. So I do need to pass 232 with a C or higher in order to take 233 and hopefully pass that with a C or higher. And then I can worry about going back and getting better points than I have. Without having completed both 232 and 233 with C's or higher, I cannot apply for the program. So it was in my hopes that I'd get a C this term, and I feel like that might not be attainable, and I definitely have to do better on my midterms as well as my final. But there is hope. There is a possibility. I did the math on the points. If I get a mid B or higher, basically, I can pass with a C. So if I study hard enough and I just completely click on everything all of a sudden, which is probably not going to be as easy as it sounds, I can do it. So I will try to do it. Anyway, other than that, I don't have a whole lot new to change or say. I still sticking with my fasting diet, and because I ate so early yesterday and I didn't eat after that anymore, and I didn't have to spike my blood sugar during a workout or anything because I was asleep and I didn't work out. My fast is already at 9:30 in the morning at 14 hours, if you can see that. So I can technically break my fast in 2 hours if I want. Um, or I can just wait till my normal time and I'll just have a little bit of a longer fast today, which is probably what I'll end up doing. But it's nice to know that I can at least break it in a couple hours if I want to. Um, I haven't had an earlier meal in the day in a while, so maybe I'll do that. Anyway, I do have to get to class. It's now 9:37 and I have to be there by 10, and it's generally a 15-20 minute drive, so I'm kind of pushing it. I hope you guys have a good one, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.